Hey everyone, welcome back to Mr. Holland's Classroom. And this video is just a review of what we've been learning in my math with shapes, two-dimensional shapes, also called flat shapes. Why? Well, we've been looking at all of them from two dimensions. We've been looking at uh, how many sides they have and vertices. And that's not really, what we're talking about when we're talking about two dimensions. But it's kind of helpful to remember that we're looking for two things. We're looking for how many sides they have and how many vertices they have. Vertices is another word for corner. So think of it like that because it's going to be helpful. We're going to be talking about shapes later that are three-dimensional, and what the dimensions are really is how long and how wide they are, and then three-dimensionals are how long, how wide, and how high they are. But these are flat because if you cut these out on a paper and you just put it on the table, it's still flat. A lot of the shapes that we see are flat, kind of like this envelope is a flat shape because you see it's not really, it's just like a piece of paper. So anyway, that's a lot to say that we've been really focusing on these two-dimensional flat shapes. What shapes have we been talking about? Well, of course, we've been talking about circles, we're talking about squares, triangles, rectangles. And with my friends, we even go a little bit further and talk about quadrilaterals and things like that. But let's just stick with the basics. We're reviewing what we've talked about, of course. So let's take a look at our review. This is on page 679, okay? And this is really the end. We're going to be taking a test on this soon to see what you know. So let's see what you know now. Okay, so for the vocabulary check, vocabulary is basically special words that have meaning. And so these words are the shapes that we've been talking about. The first one is rectangle. What they want you to do is figure out which one of these three shapes is the rectangle. You guys know this. The second one is hexagon. Hex means six. That's your hint. Hex, six. Yeah, they sound very similar. So check that out. Then we have number three is square. I know you guys are like, oh, that's easy. But why is it a square? Do you remember why? It's the same sides, all the same sides. Rectangles they have four sides, but they're not all the same sides. Two are long and two are short. So that's your square. And then round. Now, I know they tried to trick you. You thought I was going to say circle, but it's round, which we know that circles are. So that is going to help you find the round shape on that page. All right, let's check out the other page. All right, so we know about this. We've done this a lot. The concept is, how do we identify matching shapes? Well, this shape right here has 1, 2, 3 sides. What shape is that called? You're right, a triangle. Now, I've taught my friends that just because triangles mostly look like this does not mean that there aren't other triangles that don't look like this. So you will find one of the shapes here that looks just like this, but there are actually two shapes like this. And remember, we're looking at how many sides and how many vertices, corners, that a shape has. So you check, does this one have the same amount of sides and vertices? Does this one have the same amount of sides and vertices? Does this one have, oh, I guess we already know that one, does it? But does this one? What two shapes are like this? So don't be tricked. Same thing down here. You are actually looking for the same sides and the same vertices, but also you're looking for the same. We know that this is a square, so make sure you find the square. It says in the question, it says, name the shape, describe it, compare the shape to each shape in the group, and circle the matching shapes. Okay, so let's do this. Number 7, Oh, this is where we started getting to the end of the lessons where they were talking about shapes in real life. What kind of shapes do you see here that they use? They want you to draw some of those shapes. So, did they use triangles? Did they use squares? Did they use circles? What other shapes did they use? Did they use rectangles? Draw the shapes that you see. And I see several. So, make sure you put all the shapes on there. And this is also kind of the same. They were wondering, what kind of shapes do you see in the real world? I'm actually going to be making a video soon about a construction site that I have been on for a while, and I've noticed shapes there too. So I was planning on making a video about that, but I mean, this is kind of a preview. What kind of shapes do you see in this picture? They want you to circle the object that is above the tree. They want you to describe the shape. Then they want you to draw an X on the object that is next to the tree, describe its shape, and then they want you to draw a wagon in front of the girls. So they're using positions as well as shapes in this exercise. So check that out. And then this is the reflection. And again, the sides and vertices, they want you to practice one more time. Trace a shape and then count how many sides and how many vertices or corners the shape has. I'm going to let you get to it, and I will see you next time when we talk about three-dimensional shapes. Bye, everyone.